Call the meeting to order. We already have the attendance coming around already. Let's see. Consideration for the minutes of January 18th. Anybody have any corrections? Take a motion to accept them?
One moment, please. Sue said that there's one correction, but it's just a word that is in there. Under coordinator's report, Jason asked Barbara if she knew, and it should be how, not have.
Okay. Knew how many weeks?
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? Okay.
I'll make a motion as amended to her email.
All right. Second?
Second?
All right. All in favor? Good. Next. Coordinators report. Dick?
Okay. And I have a printed report that I'll give Pam after and then email the PDF. And instead of just reading it all straight through, I'll stop at each section, so for discussion.
That's good.
Okay, taping since 1/18/12, the last report. GTV has recorded the following shows since last meeting. Let's Get Cooking, 2 new episodes. Let's Get Cooking promos, 2 of them. Varsity Boys basketball game, 2 school board meetings. Victorious Life, 2 episodes. SAU workshop. Cooking with Comedy, 2 episodes. Book Circle, 3 episodes. Girls basketball, town deliberative, school deliberative. Straight from the Heart, the first show. Kingdom Chats, their first show. And Crispin's House, Warrant 22 video. Working on developing new shows with producers, working with Carl at DPW vacuum truck video. Got to get back to the police department. We have some PSAs that we're working on. And Dave is working on a 4-H documentary about the 4-H's trip to Alabama. Okay. Audio capture in our playback server was fixed. As reported last month, we were having problems with the audio capture, which is the feed that goes from here to the studio and is recorded on our server. And we were having problems with the audio. There not being audio. And after they sent us a new card and I replaced the old one with the new one, they then got into the system via Time Viewer and did what they had to do, and now we are back to recording audio from the town hall feed. So that was taken care of. And we didn't pay for the card, which is good. A side note that I didn't put on the report, but the server that we had sent back to be reworked so that it would be operational and everything has been going good except for that audio card. We still have their loaner system, which they had sent us. I've been waiting for us to really make sure the system is working, or if they called me, which they haven't. But I'm at the point now where I'm satisfied that the system is working. So now I'll be contacting them and saying, okay, we have this playback server here, which really is, for those that don't fully know, it also can be used as a carousel player, which is the bulletin board. And when we got our system back, there were 2 licenses for carousel, which we only have 1 license for. So back in my head, I'm thinking, okay, they're planning on making amends by giving us that carousel server that we were using temporarily and giving us the license so that we could have 2 bulletin boards, one separate just for government and then one for the public and education channel. Which if this works out that way, which is what I'm gonna talk to them and say, hey, really for all the hassle we've had, that's the least you can do to compensate us. That would allow us to, there's things on the bulletin board that we can't do, such as political call to actions, which are legal on a public channel, but not on a government channel. And since we only have one bulletin board now that goes on both of them, we've not been able to do that. So if we were to be able to separate and have our own government one, then we would be able to do that. So I'll be reporting back next month on what the outcome of that loaner server is. Which also, I just want. Okay, going along with the shows we take, playback information for the 27 days between 1/18 and today. Total shows aired was 142, with 65 of them being either local or locally sponsored shows. The average show length is 50 minutes and 57 seconds. And the total runs was 600 runs for a total of 516 hours and 15 minutes. I met with Michael Redinger to look at and estimate the cost to move the equipment in what I call the other room, because we don't have a name for it yet, from this room into Andrews, not Andrews, but into GTV's recording room. And the quote came back at $1,545. He's covering himself for a full day, and you know that includes the wire and everything, the audio and video cable that we would need to move everything from here to there.
What, this equipment here?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because we've had some issues with, you know, again, just people fiddling with dials and everything, and you know. But what it would do is it would allow Andrew to be monitoring what's going on here and be able to start and stop the recorder at the right time, or pause when it's, you know, what do you call it? Not intermission, but recess or something, you know.
Non-public or whatever.
But it would also keep the equipment intact.
Did you have a chance to meet with Neil and talk with anybody from the city about, the town about wiring and?
Yeah, Brian came down when I was meeting. I had Brian come down so that, you know, we all talked, and the only thing is we don't have the cable and everything. Michael cuts the cable to the length, solders the ends, makes sure they're good connections, and the whole bit. You know, there might be some of the things, like if we get audio snake, that we're gonna need to go from here to there, you know, that could be run and whatnot. So that, you know, there could be some savings, you know.
Now, when it comes to the system, is it comes off here into an XLR into
A mixer.
mixer, and then the mixer comes out XLR and then goes to the other room, right? Or it would go to the other room XLR out.
All of that mixer and everything
Yeah.
would be over there.
Yes.
So all these XLRs
Yeah.
would go up in the ceiling and go over and come down.
There wouldn't be any soldering or anything like that involved.
Not for that audio.
No.
It's for the video. The video cable.
But isn't that BNC?
No, he custom makes the cable out to the length you need, and
Oh, yeah.
So
I
forth,
understand
you know.
that. I'm just,
um,
I understand what you're saying.
and there's it's not all BNC that we're using.
Oh, is it? It's
No.
like, is it RCA or just BNC?
Yeah, RCA and, yeah.
Because in this room, how
RCA.
many cameras are there? One?
One. Right now, there's only one.
I'm gonna bet good money that's a BNC out. that type of camera is a BNCL, because it probably goes into an adapter, and then from the adapter goes into the.
Right, and it's
Yeah.
gotta go into the VC, not the VCI,
The
God.
DA.
Into the DVD and the, distribution amp to go to a couple different places for monitors and so forth, you know?
Yep.
But there will be some, I don't expect a full day,
Yeah.
you know? But I think he was covering himself because the last time that job was bigger than one day, we were into the next morning coming back and working on it, so.
Alright.
Now, it also didn't include, but the two pieces of equipment that he recommended to take care of our issues as far as the problem with the overhead projector, and the fact that we can't, with the little $20 scan converter that, Neil had given us, it doesn't do the job. So he recommended a unit which is called the AV Tools scan converter, and I went pricing it out, and, it's about $175 for the scan converter, but this will handle it properly. Then the other piece of equipment that he recommended is what's called the video automatic gain control. And it's this blue box where the video goes in, video comes out and goes to the modulator. And what that's useful for and helpful for is when you have too much white, when you have like a PowerPoint slide and it's a lot of white, a few black letters and stuff, you get a problem with audio and
It's a gain control.
right. So this box just fits there and it takes care of it. Those run $700 to $900. So I went on eBay, picked up a used one for $49. So whether we do the job or not, that's gonna be going into the system. And if it helps, we'll be ending up looking for another one cheap like that for the studio, so that we can help take care of those issues. So looking at the room, moving the equipment from here to there and setting it all up properly so that it can be used by one person, kind of at the same time so that they're not going crazy. It'd be under $1,800, just under $1,800 would be the amount necessary maximum. So, I'll leave it there for that if somebody wants to make a motion for discussion or not.
I have it under action items, but if you guys want to talk about it now, we're more than welcome to talk about it now. It's up to you guys.
It just would be nice to have a copy of that.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be, no, I mean, while you're discussing it, it'd be really helpful to have it in front of us to, your whole coordinator, report, would be nice to have in front of us while
Yeah.
you're talking, so we
I
can
just
follow
need to
it.
get some more paper at the studio.
Want some copies upstairs?
I think,
Oh.
are you almost done, or?
Well, he's gonna give me a copy. right
Yeah,
here.
no, I'll give her a copy. Plus, I'm gonna email it, a PDF.
So do you guys want to discuss it now, or just wait till actions? Which one? You guys?
No, I mean, it sounds like, gotta get
What are we
that.
discussing?
Discussing the $1,800.
Oh, I thought you
all right.
meant the,
So,
having a
Motion
copy.
to discuss.
Because you went from one subject to
Yeah,
another.
yeah.
Okay.
Is it just a discussion or?
Just a discussion for right now. $1,500, the equipment, I have no issues with whatsoever. I've seen those, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
They serve a great purpose, and get one for $49 is great. That's awesome. But the $1,500 for installation, I'd like to see one more bid, or one more something, because I think $1,500 for the amount of wiring that's being done just seems a lot. It's just me, it seems excessive. I've had 150 feet of cable run from 2 different floors, and we're talking, I know this isn't an easy run going through over these walls, I'm sure. but, and it only cost me $600, so I'm just trying to figure out, and I can understand he's coming from the video end into a DA, out of the DA into all its sources and stuff like that. He's probably
Right.
gonna label it
What-
and
and-
make it all nice.
And he also does a diagram.
Yeah, and that's great
He
because
marks it.
And
afterwards.
so when you say $600, what was the qualifications of that person? Where did you get that person that was
I
doing
got it from
that?
Access AV. I'm not saying he needs to use Access AV, but I used Access AV in Concord because they were video, and I wanted somebody specifically in video, not in networking or an electrician. So
No, this guy is,
no, I'm not.
this guy is the video. He,
No, totally, I totally understand.
designed
Barbara's just asking me
right.
what I use for
Right,
specific.
right.
I used a video engineer to.
Right.
Well, they're technically not video engineers. They're video tech people to do it.
Right.
I prefer if I'm using a networking cable, I like to use computer guys. If I'm doing video, I like to use video guys. It's just the way
Yeah.
I like to do my stuff.
and Michael is an engineer. He's
No.
a video engineer,
Yeah.
and he
I
puts
just,
not buildings, but stations together and everything.
I was hoping when Neil was here the last time that he would, not to say that he should have been at the meeting, but I would have liked to have heard what Brian had to say about it. You said Brian was the
Yeah.
gentleman with me. I would have loved to have
Yeah.
heard what he had to say about, if he was sat down right now and said, you know what, I think this is exactly right and wonderful and great, I'd been like, okay, wonderful, but without hearing it from him or hearing, from somebody else, I don't know, I'd just like to see a second person real quickly just come in and email it to the rest of us and we can take it at the next meeting unless it's an absolute emergency, which.
And then we go another month. I mean, we've already postponed it, but anyways. it's
Well,
your-
talking with
Whatever the
your
committee
staff, it's not an emergency. He said it last week, the last meeting, it wasn't an emergency, so. I don't know, it just seems a
Where
lot.
did you get this guy, or where did you?
He's the
Talking with
gentleman
his
that
staff?
Yeah,
installed our tightrope server to begin with, and he's the guy that we had come in and do the major move of that room into the back room.
Where's he from?
Massachusetts, Boylston, Mass. Yeah.
You have his name spelled on the report, right?
Yeah,
I don't want to get it wrong, thanks.
yeah, and it's, Unique Media Systems is his company. But I'll be giving you this as well.
All right.
Dick, where's this fall in purchasing policy?
Where's what?
Which level does this fall in your purchasing policy?
Um,
Town's purchasing policy?
okay,
Is it the first level, second level, or third level?
I've got the purchasing policy here.
Oh, thank you.
You're
What did Dick
welcome.
say?
Oh, I'm not saying I know exactly what it is. You
Yeah.
can pull it out if you want.
and is it the 1,500 or is it, I know
don't remember
3,000
the
is,
ranges,
yeah,
yeah, and it's, if the board, if it falls under the thing and the board wants to go with it.
and is
that's
that the
fine.
recent one? 'Cause-
Yeah, 1,000 to
Okay.
20, well, you're in,
He's- he said-
admin, level 2. So you're 1,000 to 2,500 is small purchase order.
Mhm.
All right, you good on that?
No, it's up to the committee. I just think that, something like this, for me, it just seems a little more than it should be, but, I don't know this gentleman, and I've never seen any, I've seen GTV, and it seems to run fine and great, but I just,
And I will just say that I will be doing, whatever I can, as well as Brian also said he would help, whatever he can do, to cut the cost down and not keep him here for the full day. I really believe this is the max, because this is a lot less work than that room was,
no.
a lot less.
Now, how much was the overall for him to set that room up?
I think it ended up 2,200,
So it was $2,200 to set up that room, and it's $1,500 to do.
And again, as I mentioned, I believe what he's doing is protecting himself by giving us a full day's quote and everything.
I understand.
Yeah.
Dick, who installed this down here?
Kip Sheedy,
Someone different from,
yeah.
do you remember what his cost was to install in this room?
Honestly, I don't.
No, okay.
I honestly, no.
Okay.
So you're just looking for a comparative cost?
I was just looking for another bid, but if the committee's fine with it, then I'm not gonna argue or make a big deal out of it, but it's just,
The other reason too that I preferred going to him, because he's integrating it in the room that he did, so that we're not having, he said, she said, back and forth, you know.
Yep.
You know, the printer cable is bent, remember that one?
I understand.
And how many months have we been discussing this?
Well, this is the first time that we actually discuss it in full.
No, but we brought it up.
We brought it
How
up,
many
yeah.
months ago?
Last month at least.
Yeah.
No, not just last month. It was, or is it I'm hearing it in the studio?
Yeah,
And I
you
think
could-
I'm hearing it here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the first time we actually discussed it, the first time I heard
Was
about it
last-
meeting, so.
Oh, the first time he brought it
No.
up in his,
2
your
weeks
coordinator's
ago.
report.
Right,
Yeah.
that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, so that was
Yeah.
last month,
Yeah.
Last month.
It was
Yeah.
just last month?
Just
Yeah.
last
Oh,
month.
okay.
yeah.
So,
But he wasn't here to present it and
That
give
was
his
our issue.
arguments for it.
Right.
that was our
And
issue.
so that was a delay.
Well, that and I didn't have the
Didn't actually have the quote yet
quote,
either.
because
Right.
he was coming the Monday after that. Yeah.
Still don't have.
What was that?
I don't feel like I still have the quote. I'm used to in,
And I told
I'm
you
used
what
to
the
having
quote-
actual copies of things that you can look at. And then if you have any questions about what, the written product, you can, ask questions, but it's a little, it's a little difficult to do that, getting
Yeah,
a
just
verbal rendition
pass that
of
down.
it. Well, it would also be nice if we could somehow get at least one day in advance.
And the reason for that is?
Just so we can look at it.
Research, it's common practice for most committees. Most committees will not vote on something that's just handed to them. They won't, because it's not really proper, because you need to ask questions, you need to have the time to do your homework and research what is being presented to you, so you can ask questions. Generally, you get the information handed to you either beforehand, the week before, or the month before, or whatever your meetings are, and then you come ready to the next meeting with any questions you have. So therefore, if any issues come up, it's been totally vetted. Perhaps we want to go home and research who Unique Media Systems is. Perhaps we want to look at what his record is at the Better Business Bureau. Whatever the committee member chooses to do as part of their research and homework will only make for a better vote when it comes time to do that. So that's why I'm asking for this, this information. I'm actually not gonna sit here and look at it, because it's not appropriate to sit here and look at it during a meeting. That's not what the meeting is for. We're
Well, I
supposed to-
thought you said you were gonna read along while he was discussing it.
No, I wanted to.
Oh, this is.
This is
No,
the
this is
actual
the
bid.
actual
Yeah.
quote.
This
Yeah.
is the actual quote.
Yeah.
And for those that are experienced and have expert knowledge in this field, can look at this quote and say, not quite right, or that's a good quote. But we're not given that opportunity because we're not handed this information in advance. So whether it comes to a vote or not, I don't have enough time or information to make a decision. Does anyone else, do you want to look at it?
I'll look at that.
Excuse me.
But then pass it back so she
Yeah.
keeps it with her
Well,
records.
yeah,
No, I mean, keep it with your paperwork.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I have no problem, let's move on then, and you'll all get, I'll send you a PDF of it
Yeah,
though.
even if,
And then-
in the future, Dick, if we can get this stuff even a day or two in advance, that'd be awesome. Give us time, then when you come here, you won't have to go through this.
Would it be possible to get an itemized quote? Because the quote just has a flat rate for the cost and doesn't say where the main expenses are going, whether it's for the equipment, for the cable work, or for the labor.
It doesn't break down individually?
No, it's just a move.
I don't
Passing it
need to
around.
see it, I hear it enough, thanks.
Is that it, Dick?
On that, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So that
And the
means,
answer, David, was yes. I'll get him to give a breakdown. So therefore, don't bother passing it down.
Well, for the
Okay, next thing-
purpose of the minutes, you might want to do that. It's up to you. Because you said don't bother passing that back down. I didn't know if you wanted.
Right, because
Just
No,
send-
you
just
can-
send a new one.
Okay,
Right,
Just send a new one.
right, there's no need to have
No.
extra confusion.
sure.
Okay, the next thing was that Neil, myself, and the Assistant Town Manager, Derek Horn, met with Brian from Comcast, he's the Comcast rep, about our contract requests in order for Comcast to better determine the cost estimates of the requests that we had made. In that meeting, Comcast had said that Comcast was supposed to contact me to set up a time to meet at the high school and look at quickly wiring up the auditorium and other locations for a live feed back to the studio. As of 2:15, Comcast has not been in touch.
Well,
We weren't really.
I got a call, it was before Christmas, from Brian Christensen, because I had called him for something else, and he had asked me if I was on the committee, and I said, yeah. And then I spoke with Neil about trying to get this whole thing exactly done, because there was issues with your modulator.
Well, this was something else, yeah,
This
the
is total-
modulators.
did that get
they've not-
fixed?
No, they've never,
See, because they were waiting
And
for
I-
a time to meet with you, and they just couldn't coordinate with.
No, and I
because they were
talked
trying to
with-
get during the day, and you couldn't.
no,
couldn't
that
meet.
was not true.
Oh, okay, all right.
No.
I'm just,
I ended up contacting Dave, who was our technician, but now he's been promoted and stuff. But he's still the number I have in my cell phone, and he takes my calls. And I talked to him and said that, hey, Comcast had told Neil and the committee that, temporarily, they would just replace our modulators now, and give us some new modulators until the contract was signed, and hopefully we'll,
In kind, right? They weren't gonna go with the switch and go or whatever,
not the, right,
not the digital ones.
not the digital one at this time,
the
Right.
Radiant?
the Radiant, not the
You guys-
Radiant, they
Oh,
were,
we got them in Manchester, you guys need to get those.
oh,
They're great.
And
Yeah.
I don't know why they wouldn't wanna do that, because
Oh, it's so
they're
much
cheaper
easier.
labor for them to
Oh,
fix.
it was very simple when we got it put in.
and all the technicians say the same thing.
Yep.
you know? And I hope the committee realizes that when you fight for those digital modulators, the Radiant technology modulators, and they come back and say, oh, well, it's, blah, blah, blah. No, they want them in here more than we want them,
Well, I'll talk more or less about new business, because I was watching a meeting, and I was very disappointed in the quality of, I couldn't believe it. Talk about it now, the screen was bending because it was overmodulated, you could tell the whites were too hot.
Right.
And it was just bending at the top of the screen, and I thought maybe for a second it was my TV, went to a different TV, the same thing was happening. Audio sounded great, but the video was just terrible, it was
Right.
awful.
And-
That's
and that's
just
where they
unacceptable.
said they were gonna come and
Down here.
replace.
Yeah, it was actually in the
Yeah,
room
from-
over there. It was a live budget meeting. It was last week, and it was either a selectman meeting, planning meeting last week, and it was
Right.
just horrendous.
Yeah, it's right across the top.
Yeah, it just bends.
Yeah.
And that's where they said they were gonna come and replace our modulators with the same kind
Yeah.
until the contract, but at least do that. And so after 2 weeks, them not getting a hold of me, because I told Neil to tell him that, give me a call on my cell. I'll set a time where we can get down there in the morning or whatever, and we'll get it done. So when I contacted Dave, he didn't know anything about it. So he says, I'll check with my supervisor and get back to you. And then he didn't either, So those are the two issues that,
So the live feeds, they were supposed to come in and look at where you wanted live feeds at the high school or
Well-
other places too?
at the high school. It was just for the high school, but it was, we had mentioned that we were having town deliberative on February 6th. And it was like, this was 2 weeks before then. And it would be nice if we could have something. And so, again, Brian got right on the phone with Dave and put him on speakerphone and mentioned that, could you get down over to the high school with Dick to meet with him so he can show you the locations and see what's the quickest way we could do something, And he said, okay, I'll be calling them next week, and he never did.
Follow, I think
And then it was too late for,
I don't know who's got Brian's email, but I would follow up, just saying the disappointment you have in the situation, especially during a contract negotiation. I'm not at these meetings,
that's
so
where-
I can't talk about it, but I can tell you this right now, that's not the best way. I'm sure he's not happy about that type of attitude, because I sure as heck wouldn't be. If I was in your situation,
Right.
I'd be very
That's what Derek,
disappointed.
yeah, should end up falling. I know Neil asked me about it the other day, and I said,
I totally understand
Yeah,
if they
call.
treat you like that after the contract, before the
Yeah.
contract is signed, that's a little much.
Right.
That's craziness, so.
okay, that was it for that. I'm gonna come back to the next subject. School training. I met with Gary Geroliman, Kurt McDermott, who's a GHS video production teacher, and another young lady, and I can't remember her name, to give them a tour of GTV and what the possibilities are. We then met again the following week to give them a more detailed control room studio demonstration. And we'll be scheduling another time to actually do a working demonstration of doing a show. The intention is that Kurt will be, boy. Okay, that Kurt will learn the system and be able to use the studio to produce some student programming. We will also be offering tours to the rest of the staff at GHS who may be interested. It will be interesting to see what's gonna happen and how it's gonna work out. I do believe that Kurt is gonna be, he's definitely gung-ho. I mean, he's the video production teacher, so what I'm hoping is that he's gonna be the go-between, and he'll be the one working with other teachers and not just, any teacher going in there that might have had a day or two of training and going in there and start, using the system. I did tell him, Kurt, well, the three of them, that the only thing that we really don't want them getting into is the live set structure, which is the backgrounds. Dave will end up showing them how to create their own live sets, but the installation, putting them into the system, into the video toaster and everything, we don't want anybody else doing that, because they get into that and they end, somebody goes and messes up our backgrounds, and so we'll be responsible for putting in their backgrounds.
So they're gonna go in when you guys aren't even there?
Yeah,
Okay.
which also means I need to rekey the two locks, because right now all three, our playback room, the control room, and the studio double doors are all one key. So I'm just gonna rekey the studio double doors and the control room to a separate key that they'll have a copy of, and the playback and office will be totally secure.
Good idea.
We have doors that are in the wall that now will start pulling out and closing up between the playback and the control room. And we're gonna move some equipment out of there as well. So next month, we should have an additional report on more activity that hopefully they'll be doing.
It would be nice to see the school doing it again.
Yeah,
Now, did
it'd be
you,
nice to see some programming.
I got an email from, please help me. with
Steve
that.
Fountain, the,
Thank you. I always wanna say Fontaine, it's not Fontaine, it's Fountain.
Fountain. Yeah, he emailed Jason passed it on to me, and I went and saw Steve. It's concerning doing a show about the $3.2 million warrant article for the stadium and the theater. So I went and talked with him, and actually it's Howard Sobolov who wants to do the show and will be coming in, and he's scheduling with Dave because he'll be doing it in the evening, because he's in Londonderry now. So they'll put on a presentation.
Warrant Article 3, or
I don't
Is that the one
remember
they
the
were-
article, but it's the.
it's the one I'm hearing all the buzz about?
Yeah. And you don't have to put it in the record, but it'll be recorded anyways, but I told Steve, they definitely have to do a show, because when you start using words like stadium, AstroTurf, you
That's-
just turned off so many people.
But that's what it is. That's exactly what Access TV or, you know, Education TV is for, to educate the people exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
And what their money's spent for. 'Cause,
Right.
When I found out it's being recorded, when I found out my bill's going up $480 for a year, I wanted to know exactly why. So, yeah, it's good that they have this,
And it's about time, that's what they
oh,
should
yeah,
be doing.
I'm not saying good or
And
bad, I'm just saying people need to know about it. That's for
Right.
sure.
You know? Now, I also have here in the my report, meeting videographer position. I am submitting the following job description, because we never did get that through on paper, to the town administrator for the position of meeting videographer. And I'm gonna read you what I'm putting down, and then Sue will get it when she gets my report. The purpose of this position, which is what Andrew does, is to record all of the town meetings held in town hall that are requested by the Board of Selectmen in either of the 2 rooms presently wired up for audio and video recording. This person will be the one to make sure all equipment is set up and turned on and ready for recording. During the meetings held in the Mildred Stark Room, this person will be responsible for choosing camera shots and switching these shots to the live feed. They will also be responsible for making sure the feed goes out through the modulator and the live streaming computer. I'm going to add to that from the Mildred Stock Room, because this can't go out live. I'll put it down for another note under other actions. Okay.
This
something
room
else I
doesn't go
just-
out live, this room
No.
doesn't?
This one?
Why-
Can
we
it
can
go
only-
live when the switch
107?
happens?
No.
No.
No, because we don't have another modulator and a
Right.
channel to
No.
put it on.
Well, if it's not,
Yeah.
if there's no meeting in that one, okay, I guess, huh? Yeah, I can't do them at the same time. You'd be in that
Right.
one, but you wouldn't be in this one.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
However, we can go live stream, but anyways. Okay, once the meeting is finished and is recorded back at the studio, they will be responsible for trimming and making audio adjustments to the file captured on the playback server. And the reason I say making audio adjustments is that we lose a lot of decibels from here to the studio, and the recorded audio is low, but with our video redo software, we bump it up, and it makes it acceptable for rebroadcast. After it has been trimmed, it is to be rendered out as an MPEG-2 file for broadcast. The file information is then entered into the playback database, allowing it to be scheduled for airing. This person is then responsible for seeing that the MPEG-2 file gets converted to an FLV file in order to be uploaded to our video on-demand service provider. Once it is available on demand, this person then would go to the software and create the proper chapter markers based on the meeting's agenda items. Once that has been completed, their responsibilities are over for that particular meeting. So this is the first throw out of it, so, you know, you'll get your copy and Sue will get her copy, and we can see what other,
Is there any way that we could, is there a HR in the city? I'm just saying, like, have them take a look. It sounds fine, but I'm just saying it doesn't hurt.
That's Sue.
Oh, okay, well, there you go.
Yeah,
Sue.
we have to add all the ADA requirements.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll
Okay.
have
no,
to
no,
go
this
over
is just,
that component.
Just a rough draft of some sort?
well, this is just the
Just the
text of it, not all the, you can
Also,
only lift
our-
30 pounds and, you know,
Right,
you found it.
our job descriptions usually don't have that much technology detail, because if technology changes, now you gotta go and revamp your whole
Yeah.
job description, so if we could just kinda give the functionality rather than all the details of
Yeah.
technology.
Okay.
And, just a quick question. So the person who tapes the meetings, such as Andrew, he goes back, just using Andrew's, I don't know exactly who it is. He goes back, and then he has to watch the meeting again? And
No.
he clicks, what is he writes it as he goes along?
Yeah, he takes notes, he's got the agenda paid.
And he just
from
writes the
meeting.
number on the tape as
He
it
looks
goes
the
through?
time.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
For God's sake, gosh.
So
Oh, no,
when
no.
we-
What a
when we
waste of-
take things.
a terrible waste to go
Does that
have to
make-
live through that again.
4
I
hours,
mean, it doesn't help,
another
but
4 hours.
Okay,
it,
No way.
as long as it's on the agenda,
all right.
you know, and I'm sure he puts some notes if something major. But the agenda items, if you jump to the bottom, you know, he knows you're down here, so he puts the time here and then goes back up
Okay.
there and, you know. Of technology.
Dick, this is something that Andrew is already doing, right?
Yeah.
You already have this person, you're just generating the, so you're not asking for another position, you're
No,
just.
no,
Well,
Right,
We're
no,
just trying to make it kind of
I had
official.
asked Dick to come up with the details of what
Right.
Andrew does, so we could get it into a job description.
All right,
yeah,
just wanted to be clear.
yeah. So I will modify it, take out the techie stuff, send it to you, then we can talk some more, and then we can
Sounds good.
resubmit it.
And this is a part-time 15-hour week.
Yeah, well,
Position
that's,
currently.
right,
Okay.
yeah. But I figured I wasn't gonna put that in there.
Well, we usually put it up in the heading. I've got the
Yeah,
whole
you got all the
format.
techie,
Yeah.
that techie
And
stuff.
this isn't going up, this isn't getting posted, this is just
No.
for the
Okay,
file,
no,
okay, yeah.
it's
No,
just
it's
for a
just so
file.
that we have it on
Yeah.
file.
Yeah.
So that if we do have to replace or add. Speaking of which, I did talk to Sue about potentially adding a second person as a backup that would be trained and available so that if Andrew's not around and, we'd have somebody to fit in, and you had said that that wasn't an issue.
As long as you didn't exceed whatever was budgeted.
Oh, right, they would just be using his hours instead of.
Right.
Right.
Is there a
So-
chance
Instead of-
that, since you're working more with the school now, that maybe a student would be interested in doing that?
Well, Sure, if you've got a video
Train a
student, you
student.
can pay them probably less.
No, the meetings go to 12 midnight sometimes. That would be a drawback. I mean, it would be nice for those half-hour meetings or, like that, but if it was a meeting that went
Yeah,
to
we kinda
midnight,
know the meetings that go.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, they don't, as an average, they don't, but that's when it would happen, yeah.
Yeah, the only issue with, I wouldn't see a huge problem with like a senior or something like that, and if he was a video student and stuff like that, and you knew specifically the types of meetings, but the problem is that when you have, one of the issues I have here in Goffstown is that there's a lot of part-time positions, and there's no one full-time person that's actually, technically, Dick is in charge, but he's not a 40-hour-a-week guy. And when you have a 40-hour-a-week guy, if somebody's not there to cover a meeting, he's the
Right.
person you call on your cell phone, and that person gets down here, just like it happens for me in Manchester, that I have to bolt over there if something happens. There really isn't that specific, not to say Dick doesn't do that, but I'm just saying, and if you have a student, you're more likely to have that student, oh, I'm gonna go see my, whoever, or I'm gonna, oh my gosh, I totally forgot, or something like that. And what are you gonna do? Oh, you're not doing it anymore? Well, it's too late now, the meeting didn't get taped or whatever like that, so, it'd be a little less. That's why the argument of volunteers always comes up, well, we can use volunteers, you can't use volunteers, you gotta have some sort of incentive or some sort of penalty to, something not happening,
Yeah.
so.
I also think, after replacing Andrew a couple of times, that I also think it's a good idea having somebody who doesn't live in town. Because I'm sitting there doing the meeting, and I just wanna get up and say something, and it's like,
Like taping a basketball game?
yeah.
Yes.
Gotta be objective.
Not paying attention because you're watching the game. So, yeah, having somebody even from out of town who doesn't have a, how do they say that?
A
Invested.
commitment
Horse
or
in
an
the
Yeah,
race.
a
interest.
horse in the race,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay, the other thing I wanted to bring up and talk about is Facebook discussion. The committee needs to come up with a policy for all social media resources and how and if we are going to use them. My original intention when setting up a Facebook page a couple of years ago was to set it up as a fan page where we could put posts on it, letting people know about new shows or what's this week's episode is all about, etc. However, I did not want to allow people to post their comments on our Facebook pages, good or bad. It was meant to be a vehicle for us to push information out to folks. However, since we had not used it whatsoever after it was set up, due to the fact that the staff does not have the time to update it, the extra time needed to maintain a current Facebook page, I did not see a problem with it. It wasn't until Pam volunteered to start updating it, which she did with posts of things going on at GTV, that we began to see comments on the post that we had put up. Now, for the record, the posts were good posts, but they included links to an individual's newspaper site. Pam had an issue with people being able to add links in their comments. I attempted to set a post with the policy, I put up a post with the policy that we don't allow comments and they will be removed. The individual plus another individual placed comments again. So at that point, I determined that we would shut it down until we can find out how to restrict comments on our post. After researching forums and talking with many so-called Facebook gurus, it was determined that Facebook had changed their policy of allowing page owners to restrict comments. So we are here today to discuss what our social media policies should be. Now, I understand that, David, you're really big into social media and Facebook and Twitter and everything. What I had read in all the forums and all the complaints that people had was that Facebook had changed it. You used to be able to restrict comments on posts. And again, because Facebook wants as many posts as possible, they removed that restriction. Now, if you know of a way where you can, GTV can put a post and nobody can add comments to it, that would be great. My other question
Library
is,
does that.
Yeah, and so
Yeah,
it was a lot of my friends do too.
We do it.
and
It depends how you set up the page.
Manchester, yeah, it's Manchester.
Well, I couldn't, you have
We-
to start the page like that.
Yeah.
and
the
you went and
Facebook-
started a page too, and
No, I
we
didn't.
could start adding posts.
Right,
We don't allow anybody to add a post. But if we put a post up, they can
Right.
comment on the post. And that was where the issue was.
but also.
There is no way to
The
stop
other,
that.
the other mechanisms that different Facebooks have in place is, I moderate several Facebook pages, and I won't say which ones, but I moderate at least 5. And what we end up doing is, we allow people to post, but if something is of a derogatory nature or leads to a link that has things that are not something we want to be associated with, we send a note to people, especially with the political ones. I've had to send messages, you warn them, you have a warning system. Once you warn them, they do it again, you can either ban them or ban them for a small amount of time. But I've banned a lot of people there, but they're known, they're warned, they said, listen, you can't do that, that's not what this site's about, blah, blah, blah. So you didn't have to take the whole Facebook thing down, you could have.
We didn't take it down, we shut it, we just
So-
not made it public.
Dave, you were asked that question. What's the answer, what's your answer to that?
The method that I would use would be similar to one that Pam says, give everybody a warning. If they repeat it, then you can block them.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
What happens to the post, though?
What post?
The post that they made?
You can delete the post.
You can delete the post.
Not a post, it's a comment, you can
Yeah.
delete the comment.
But,
But it's still out there and people have seen it.
well, I think we're, not to say we're making it bigger than it needs to be, but I think first of all, you guys are better than I would about the warning situation, because I would just, that's it,
Well-
just take them off. But if it's something that's ridiculous, they comment, it's like, why even bother? The person's not,
You can hide them too.
But-
With one site we actually have a mechanism where the comments can be hidden. And it gets to the point where you can hide someone all the time. But those are political ones. You wouldn't want to use that for Facebook. It's something, I know that it's of great use. I've gone on other Facebook pages of community television, and what a great way to communicate with folks.
Is it the goal of this committee to use Facebook or social media just to push out a message?
Yeah, that's what we wanna do.
About
Event.
what GTV is about.
Right.
Right.
And upcoming events and things that are on, everything, just what's happening.
Because that's the safest way to do it. I've
Yeah.
attended legal workshops on this whole subject,
Yeah.
and
Oh, good.
to moderate it is
Well,
a
yeah, but-
nightmare if you allow people to make comments and post.
Right, but
So-
you can't not allow them. That's
Let's,
the problem.
let's look into that again.
Now, it's
Well,
gotta
would
be.
he know
The
more?
library is doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. let's
So
find
can
I
we-
with
don't
them.
know what the
And you-
difference is between the library's Facebook page and yours.
Okay.
And
So
what
we
we
have to
need to
look-
find out is, are they moderating it
Well,
throughout the day?
Dick,
You know,
can
no.
you,
Do you,
can you
They
give
just-
the library a call and just find out?
Yeah.
Who's, I don't know if Info Systems for this town is taking care of their
No.
Facebook.
No.
So just
No.
give the library a call, ask them how they do it. If it comes out that it's doable to remake
Yeah,
the whole
let's do it.
Facebook, then just remake it and no comments.
we don't
And
have to remake it, we
No.
just have to turn it.
Well, if it comes
Turn
up
it
to be
back
that
on.
you have to do it from the scratch, the way, sometimes you have to do the settings from the beginning when you launch it before, you can't go back and redo them sometimes.
Okay,
That's
so
the
what
hard
we,
part.
what we need, even before we do that, is an agreed upon policy on what we're gonna allow and what not. Now, so the town has
The town
no
is working
objection, or?
on, the town, the selectmen have charged us, and Derek and I are working on a social media policy townwide.
Oh, awesome.
So we attended some legal workshops
Right.
on it, and we are intending to go in that direction just to use it to push information out.
So, you guys can disagree. How about Dick calls up the library, finds out exactly how they're doing it, then we wait for the policy to come out and we just adopt the policy that the town's doing, because it's the same thing, we're all under the same umbrella anyway, so it doesn't matter. To come up with a whole new policy about what we wanna do
Yeah.
Right,
makes no sense, considering they've been in the legal workshop, so it's just kind of, doing the same thing, so. I don't think you need a motion for
We
it.
were trying to get the local government center to write it for us.
Oh, yeah. They
Did
got a lot
you
of
pay
problems.
your
bill?
I was gonna say, they got a lot of problems over there.
yeah, we pay them enough.
So what's the outcome of that?
I think
What
Dick,
you just said.
yeah, Dick,
Just gonna check the library. and
check the
then
library,
make
see how they do it,
policies.
and then if we can't fix it, Dick will get back to us in the next meeting, specifically how, and if, he doesn't even need, I don't even feel if you can, they tell you how to do it, just do it, without having to do comments. You don't even have to come back to
Right.
the next board.
Right.
Just fix it, and there you go.
But if it needs moderating, I'm
Something like
not
that,
turning
we're
it on.
gonna wait
Yeah,
till the
they
next
don't-
meeting, and we'll talk about
Yeah.
that. And then,
Right.
if it needs moderating, then we'll wait for Sue and Derek to come up with the policies, and we'll just adopt those.
The type
Okay.
the library has does not need moderating, because they don't allow postings from anyone but themselves.
They
We-
can't be the
we
only
don't
people who
allow
won't figure it out,
those
so
things either.
Dick should be.
Something happened,
But it- no,
to my knowledge, I can't
It's
figure out what.
comments on the post.
Oh,
It's
you're
the
right.
comment on the post.
You're right there.
All right, so just call them up anyways, just to see.
Oh, no, I will.
Yeah, yeah.
I definitely will.
There is one issue, however. Whenever people do comment on a post, then all their friends see that they commented, and that might bring a little bit more attention to Goffstown TV as well.
Yeah.
We might want to keep that aspect alive, because if people comment on the posts that are there, that'll get their friends to be interested as well,
Right.
and get more attention to Goffstown TV.
We want everybody to like GTV, that's pretty much what it is, so.
With that thought, we still have a Twitter account,
Yeah,
that hasn't been tweeted since July of 2010. It had you've only done 5 tweets.
I think we just get rid of Twitter. There's no need for
What is the,
Twitter.
what is the
Um,
benefit of a
difference-
tweet
No,
when
there
you're
is a
going to
big-
be doing,
Yeah,
what
I
is
agree.
it?
it's very valuable if you have somebody tweeting.
Right.
Okay.
Well, Dick, let me explain
Dave,
something to
Jay,
you.
Dave, myself,
You can
aren't
connect your
gonna-
Facebook page. I have that.
right,
Whenever you tweet something, it goes on the Facebook, or you could probably do it vice versa. No,
I don't know.
you can go either way depending on what your needs are. We could put something on Facebook, it could become an automatic tweet. So you don't need to do 2 things. Once you connect your Facebook to Twitter, every time you post something, it goes to Twitter. Trust me, I did this for one,
how does it do that though? Does it truncate? Because it's only,
Yes.
what, 140 characters for Twitter?
it'll give you, no, what it'll do, Dick, is it'll give you the link to the Facebook page. If you do an article,
Oh,
it'll
okay,
give you, yeah,
okay,
it's
yeah,
that
that's
small
what I said.
bit.ly
Right.
link.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah, it doesn't take your information and put it on the tweet.
no, no.
Unless
Just-
it's less than 140 letters, then it can copy one to
It'll
one.
just take it 1-to-1? Yeah. No, but I agree that Twitter and, because again, this social media, I'll call it a virus, but it's a good virus. It just goes everywhere.
Yep.
And, again, like David said, You know, I might have, 352 friends, but those 352 friends have 200-300 each, and some have 5,000, and they all get to see some of that, and it just,
And how many Twitter followers do we have?
We
Oh.
have 20, right here.
but we
have
don't
25.
publicize it. We didn't, that's
No,
just
sir.
people that happen to find us.
You're
Because
our
again,
friends.
Dave and I don't have time to be tweeting and.
Yeah, I'm going to the
You know.
bathroom now.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
That's
yeah.
Foursquare.
No, so what you're saying is that if Facebook and Twitter were connected, everything you put on Facebook is going to go to Twitter, and everything that's
Twitter.
gonna, Twitter, whatever, it doesn't
Yep.
matter because I'm not doing it. Of what value is having it go to two places?
Different people.
Yeah,
Different
sometimes
people
who would-
see.
It's all about exposure.
Yeah, some people.
Some
who-
people live
I do.
Twitter. I mean,
have-
they live Twitter.
I don't live Twitter, but I mean, I do it
No, but
all.
there are some people that,
Is that true?
It is true. For example, with the book project I was trying to organize both on Facebook and Twitter, I did get 2 different audiences of people interested in the product and telling their friends about it. So.
Some people like Twitter, some people like Facebook,
Yeah.
and just some like both. So.
Some people like to talk to each other, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Some people like to use the
What's
cell
that?
phone.
Will
to
this,
talk.
will this create,
Forget about
you
text.
know how we're talking about comments and adding more things? Will this
They can't do
create,
anything on
no, will this create a larger time frame that you have to monitor all these
Oh,
things?
no, you don't monitor Twitter.
No, Twitter has nothing. They can't answer.
It's very
that.
different.
It's just a one-way
So
conversation.
Twitter is going to go onto Facebook, and we're going to have to monitor it on
No,
there?
No, Twitter's a separate entity.
No, but she's Barbara's saying that when you Twitter something, it goes onto the Facebook. You guys were saying it goes back and forth.
It
both
depends
ways.
which way you want it to go.
Yeah, I think if Facebook go to Twitter is
Yeah.
fine, but Twitter go to Facebook. it's
No,
something.
no, we wouldn't do that. That'd be silly.
So it would be a one-way conversation from Facebook to Twitter, and the people from Twitter who get Twitter can't answer back. They can't post on Facebook or anything.
We post stuff like the
Afterwards.
shows, if you have opportunity, well, you wouldn't, but Bedford, what I mean by wouldn't is because if you're not on Facebook, but Bedford TV and a lot of other cable television stations are on Facebook. And Bedford is pretty awesome. They put down, like, the town committee meeting is tonight, the deliberative is tonight, or the selectmen's meeting is tonight. Those people know. And like someone else brought up, their friends know and their friends know. And it just gets the word out and gets more exposure to GTV and, who knows, maybe more volunteers, more producers, just more of everything.
and to give you a good example of the power of Twitter and Facebook, I have a producer in Nashua who did a show, and he tweeted it and put it on Facebook, or he Facebooked it and put it on Twitter. Within
Kevin?
4 days, he had 54 video on demand hits
Yeah.
on
Is
his,
it Kevin?
on that show. Yeah, Kevin.
Yeah, I know, because I get all his tweets.
Yeah, whereas we have another political show that has some very good guests, high up guests, who haven't been doing the Twitter and the Facebook.
If it's who I think
they
it
got
is, he
4 or
doesn't,
5
he doesn't
hits.
push it. You need to
I know.
get it out there. I know who you're
Right.
talking about.
So that's where, I see the value of Facebook and Twitter. We just have to have a policy on it.
Yeah.
And if it involves moderating, we need to have somebody responsible for moderating, because with our hours, we're not gonna be able to moderate a
Right.
Facebook
So
page.
with the time frame, when do you think this would have a conclusion on your workshop or whatever it is?
Oh.
Policies.
We have to bring it to the Board of Selectmen, so we're just trying to get through town meeting right now.
Yeah.
As soon as everything's.
Oh,
into
I
the
see,
public
yeah,
with that,
yeah,
we'll
okay.
get it going on
So
the
it will
policies.
be
I have
at
a
least
list
till
of
April,
policies,
kind of, before we get a conclusion.
Probably.
So we don't have to worry about Facebook or Twitter till then?
Well, he's
Well,
gonna
no,
check
we still need to find
library.
out about the comments.
No,
and,
no, I mean, it's not going to be up and running is what I meant.
Well, if he can block comments,
Right,
Oh,
He would
yeah,
go
or
ahead.
through the library. Oh, all
Yeah, I
right,
understand.
all right.
yeah.
And the library blocks comments?
I believe so.
We don't know, that's what we
Oh,
gotta find
okay.
out. Yeah.
All right, next.
Okay, the last thing I have, and I have no major equipment requests at this time. We're just kind of sitting back and regrouping ourselves.
Waiting for the budget to pass.
Yeah. Because well as getting our sanity back.
Can I ask
Oh,
one question?
yes,
Will the deliberative session be on before
Yeah.
people vote March 13th?
yeah.
Great.
In fact, Friday is when I plan on finishing it, to do it, so over the weekend, it'll get finished, and then it'll start Monday's schedule.
No wonder we don't see you.
Yeah. I'll, again, another side note, but I'll send out, I've been working on a new schedule. Because of some comments that people have made, and I won't, mention her name or anything. Oh, this is on video.
You can even mention anything you want, I couldn't care less.
No, I've been working on the schedule, because right now we have, as of the other night, we have 6 religious shows that are, almost weekly, okay?
We have 12 hours of viewing through 9 to midnight. Well, 9 to 11:30, because then we put on, 9 to 11.
Yeah, 9 to 11.
Because we put the Crazy Show on at 11:30, and that's, adult, and it won't be,
But,
yeah.
no.
Well, it's just that sometimes it's a little on the gory side, and, Anyway, it's 6 hours out of the day, of a 12-hour day, or 11-hour day. And
So anyways, I've been working
one
on a
subject.
schedule to kind of break them up and, whatnot. So I have a whole new, what we use are blocks. So I have a whole new block set up that, I'll email you a PDF of it and just try and give you an idea of it. It might be a little confusing, but you can ask me questions on it. The other thing along the lines of schedule is, I asked Earl, who's, produces Book Circle, he offered to help as far as trying to come up with a format for the schedule for Goffstown News. So I gave him a full week and said, okay, here you go, see what you can do. He came up with the format, and it would end up taking half of a full page to just list like a normal TV guide type schedule. So that's not gonna work. So I'm trying one other thing where I'm gonna take the shows and just list them down. There's approximately 17 shows of average in a week that we hear. So my thought is, I'm just gonna list them and then do a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday column, and just put, this show, 9 a.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m. It won't be in any order on that day, but if you're looking for a show that you like, you better look and see, okay, Tuesday, it's here. If it's Wednesday and you want to see what's playing at 5 o'clock, you're gonna have to look down the Wednesday column and, okay, here's 5 o'clock, boom, that's the show that's playing,
Yep.
So I'm gonna see again how much space that takes.
Now, you're saying you have 17 shows a week that
That we
I'm
schedule.
trying to figure out exactly now. I assumed, and I haven't looked at your schedule yet, but I assume, like, let's say the cooking show. It's every Tuesday at 8 o'clock, every Thursday at 4 o'clock, every,
Right.
Saturday at 5 o'clock.
It's once a day at a certain time.
Well, I'm not even saying once a day, I don't think every
No,
show
but it
should
is
be on.
once a day.
Yeah, it shouldn't be on once a day, I don't think, but it should be on 4 times a week. That's what they, 4 or 5 times, whatever you guys wanna do. But
been
it
doing
should be
that
the
for years,
same time every single time.
Right, and that's what we do
every
with the
week,
block.
right,
Every single
right.
week.
That's what he
Right.
means
But
by a
when-
block.
But when you do that, so like every single show that the person walks in off the street and says, hey, you know what, I wanna do a show on skiing. He should walk in, you can tell him, well, your show's gonna, before you even do the show, if it's a half an hour long, 8 o'clock on Wednesday.
Not before we do the show, I can tell you that.
Well, I'm just
It won't
saying, it's, in theory, your math should be like, if it's a half an hour long, you have an open hour block now from 8 o'clock to 8:30. You take the show off that you take from whatever other community, and you say, okay, that one's gone now. We're putting this one in, and it should be the same time every single time. We
Right.
had that issue with the cooking show because we couldn't figure out, keep them the same times, and they were like, oh, I thought they were supposed to play now.
They were the same times. There was one error I had made on the one day.
That he
It was a
actually-
Saturday that he could watch it.
And he
But
couldn't
I had
find
made
it.
the wrong.
But I'm
thing.
just saying, like, if for the news article situation, you could just turn around and pick, you got 17 shows, take 6 of them, and just put, you know, like, Monday, whatever time, Tuesday, whatever time, and you don't have to do them again the next week because of the fact that everybody knows that it's always gonna be
Oh,
that
you're
same
saying
exact
maybe
time.
you
That's
Do a
what we're
monthly?
doing now. That's
Yeah.
what we're
No,
doing
no, no,
now.
wait.
It's-
Keep
Yeah.
talking, because
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
not
go
sure
ahead.
I'm understanding where you're going.
You're going monthly?
Yeah, monthly or weekly, I don't know whichever article you guys.
Well, weekly
No,
is
no,
what they
it's
offer.
the schedule, the
Yeah,
schedule.
so the weekly, if instead of having this giant schedule of 17, one week you do 5, the next week you do 5, the next week you do 7, and then you go back to the 5, 5, 7. So if you can't fit the 17 in, you know those 5 are always gonna be the same times, so just highlight those guys for this week, and the next week, and the next week, and it just saves you a little bit of a hassle, and you never have to change your article. You can always just send the same one because, oh, it's the 3rd week of the month. It's
Well,
those
he's gonna
5.
have different shows, so,
But he
you
can,
know, it's not
he can
always the
change
same.
it, he can just
Yeah.
add into them, or take them out if they leave. It's less work for you to do, that's all I'm saying, it's just, I just,
Yeah, I'm
Is the
just
goal to
not
see a
so-
week at a glance?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the perception would be of people looking and seeing GTV show schedule and they only see 5 shows. They're gonna think
Mm-hmm.
that's all that's on there, you know?
but you're telling me you can't fit all 17 on there.
We haven't determined that yet, right?
Selected
Right.
programming.
Right.
For more information, visit our website.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Exactly. I thought we were more into the highlighting the show and let people know what they were, and then giving the specific
Well, that
times.
wasn't, this was a schedule thing that she.
That was the schedule, because
It was-
they offered to
Right.
post the schedule too, which is awesome.
Right. So,
Do me a favor.
I'm trying, the next
Yeah.
step is to see if the next
Can-
format is small enough, and I'll submit it to them and say, okay, is this gonna work for you?
Do me a
If
favor.
they say yes,
Did they
great.
give you
Just,
the size?
just
No.
just check out our, I'm not saying ours is any better than anybody else, just check out Manchester's on 23, just use theirs, and like how it's laid out, we're on our website, and then we have a grid that you can print out, and it actually, like, Tuesday's here, and then it shows every show, Wednesday, and it's small, but I imagine you can expand it to whatever you need to be, just to see how, you know, that might work for you to be put in a news article, it might work, that type of format, so, but, just a suggestion, I don't, yeah, the religious shows, they're all 6 of them, they were right in a row?
No, no,
No?
no, but,
No.
But they were every single day?
oh yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah.
And I gotta tell you, I don't have an issue with that. And again, I'm making other comments, but, nobody from Nashua is here. They actually, in Nashua, and I fought this but lost, they wanna see local shows twice a day. And my opinion is that when I look at another station's schedule, and I see the same shows over here, like this block of 6, and then repeat it again over here, and repeat it again over here, you know, I say, they don't have that much. You know, there's not much variety in everything, you know?
Well, that's what we do. So I can tell we got enough, and there's enough variety. We use a block between 4 o'clock and midnight to 8 AM, and 8 AM to 4 PM the next day, then we switch them all up again. And the reason why is because, in theory, everybody works 3 shifts. Everybody works from, you know,
Oh, I
8
know.
to 4, 4 to 12, 12 to 8. So you're
Right.
trying to hit every single audience, and every single audience should have the right to see what that other one audience did beforehand. And then you just switch them up the next day with a totally different
But that's
program.
why we run them 7 days, once a day, and they run at different times, so that, you know, you could see it in the morning, you'd see it in the afternoon, you'd see it in the evening, then you'd see it late morning and late afternoon and late evening, you know, so it,
Yeah, it's just 2 different
you
ways
know,
of doing it,
yeah. But it does get to be more complicated when you start really getting more shows, like we are, more local shows. And then, of course, everybody wants the 7 o'clock on
Yeah.
Monday.
And once the 8 o'clock shows.
Yeah,
And one of the things that someone said to me was, when I questioned, at that time, we had an opportunity to give them a selection of time to start on Monday. And they said to me, well, when's your biggest audience? And I laughed and I said, all we know is we have 2 people that call in and complain. Now, I should have asked him, as I drove home that night, I should have asked him, when do you watch it?
Exactly, we'll put it on the tab.
And I forgot, I didn't think of it till then. But we don't know how many people are watching, and I don't know how you would get to know.
We
Oh,
can't-
we know when we,
I mean, there's something
Yeah,
wrong.
well,
When something
no,
wrong
No,
show
yeah,
up.
yeah, the error, yeah.
at 20 past 12 on a Sunday night.
Right,
When I,
We know.
when there's not audio in a certain meeting, I'll tell you, you know.
right,
Yeah.
yes,
You're
yes.
everything under
we-
the sun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's not a true of who's
Yeah,
doing
there's no,
what.
There's no
Yeah.
Nielsen ratings
Yeah.
that go into access.
And we are
so-
doing 2 hours of children's shows now.
No,
No,
that got
that's
cut back
changed.
because
Oh,
of the shows that we have.
right, okay.
Is that it, Dick, or is we
No,
still?
the last thing I have is on the article for the Goffstown News. A good article was submitted by Pam Manny to the Goffstown News about GTV. It had been originally been reported to the full committee that the column will be sent to everyone in advance with a notice of deadline to submit corrections, additions, or changes, and then be sent to the paper in a timely manner. As coordinator, I looked at it right away and sent the following change request to Pam and was first told, "Will do," to my additions and corrections. In a subsequent email, I received the following from Pam. "Dick, I just noted the entire email. I'll correct Book Circle, but leave the rest as they can be addressed in future columns. My goal was to offer readers a sample of what GTV offers and hope they go to the website to find out more." I then replied the following in regards to the fact that she only listed 3 very new shows. This is my quote, "I believe the others left out would feel slighted since you are mentioning some and not them. Also, other than Christian Fellowship, the others have produced more shows than the ones you listed and should be mentioned as well." She replied back, "Dick, this is the first column with 600-word limit. I am pretty much at the limit. Also, the column was to illustrate some of what is offered, certainly not room for all. Considering there has been 0 outreach regarding what is programmed on GTV, I think this is a good start. If you feel otherwise, take care of it in the next column that you have offered to write." I in turn replied, "Then I strongly recommend you remove the 3 listed and put New Hampshire Politics, Victorious Life, and Harvest Christian Service. They deserve the mention in this first article. All I can say is that it went in without any of my recommended comments, except for changing Kim Reading to Book Circle. To be honest, I feel that there is some underlying agenda here in the fact that Pam was not the least bit willing to accept any of the comments or additions that I had put forward. I will be writing the second article to introduce Goffstown residents to the GTV staff. I will also add a paragraph or 2 or 3 about the shows that have been airing on GTV some 8 years, 6 years, and 3 years. The 3 shows I was talking about that were slighted, in my opinion, in the first article. I won't make mention of that in the article, though, so don't worry. After the article I was told was submitted, I sent the following email to both Jason and Pam. "Pam or Jason, did you send the recent Goffstown News article to Goffstown Today for publication as well? If not, I will forward it over to Bill to place there as well. All articles should be submitted to multiple places for getting us the best outreach. I would also say we should submit it to the Hippo as well as the Goffstown Edge. I have no problem with submitting them after they have been published in the Goffstown News so that they get first crack at it. If that is a problem, then I also have no problem with rewriting it to make it somewhat different." This was the response I received from Pam. "Let's save that idea until the next GTV meeting when the merit of your suggestion can be publicly discussed." Not something like, "Great idea, the more publicity we can get, the better." Again, it begs me to wonder if there is some other agenda going on other than trying to get GTV more recognition. Just my 2 cents.
Did you put down what I replied to you?
No, but I do have that here.
Can you also say that into the record, please?
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing too, is that whole conversation email thread, I think needs to be in the thing, because again, Neil pointed out, hey, you guys are having a meeting.
What
Well, let's just finish up.
constitutes?
Let's just finish up.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's
yeah,
find that.
okay.
We'll read that in there quick.
Hello, Dick and Pam. Dick, I think we need to discuss this at the full board level regarding any publication we put the article in. I have no issues with the idea at this time, but the full board approved sending to the Goffstown News. I want the full board to approve anywhere it is sent in the future, not just one individual. On a different note, well, my
No.
brother was, okay.
Yeah, that was my.
I don't think
You
that's
have
what
that
you're
email.
asking to repeat.
No, not that part. No, I
No.
just want, there wasn't any video on demand. I couldn't find the video on demand. I was just asking because my brother wanted to watch it,
Right.
and that was my issue. And Dick has now said that he's gonna create a category to make sure that it
You
gets
have
on.
these emails.
Well, I do, but the other thing I
Yeah.
think that Jason might be asking was his response to the your corrections and additions. Let me just state that when I came on this committee, my whole thing was to do what I could for the committee, to the best of my abilities, of course. I'm trying to word this in such a way that keep the word agenda out. I think writing this column was a good idea.
I think, very good idea.
Thank you very much. I don't think anyone reading it would say anyone was left out or slighted. I didn't mention any of the religious groups because there's too many of them. I tried to keep it local and mention the local people that were doing columns and stuff like that. As made clear, we have a 600-word limit. I was at that, just about at that limit.
545, just to let you know.
Thanks, but I find it actually a bit offensive that after not having anything out there for the public to see, doing no outreach for Goffstown Television, that the coordinator would basically attack somebody who's doing the job and telling them you're finding every criticism possible for the column. I'm not here for that. I'm here for a positive outreach to the community, but what Goffstown is doing, I feel like at every step, there's what's the word I'm trying to use? Resistance, you know, of getting it out there. There's so many avenues to get it, to information out there. I'd like to question why none of it has ever been done. And I'm doing it now, and I get this resistance. Every member, committee member here has the opportunity, as I stated, to write the column, to put something out there. That offer's there, and I think what Dick did decide to read, which he did not read everything, but what he did decide to read was, you know, was just to be critical of what I wrote and what I said, and I think it's pretty clear that I said, you could write the next column. Great, you know, why don't you, if you don't like what I said, you don't like what's in there, you don't think it's enough information, awesome, why don't we do it? But I think what we really should be focusing on is maybe some of the things that are going on at GTV. Since the coordinator thinks there's an agenda, you bet I have an agenda. My agenda is to get GTV in the state that it should be in for what we're paying for as taxpayers. And you're saying $63,000 is not a lot, but I'm saying for what we have, we should be getting more out of GTV. I'm not satisfied. I'm not satisfied. As a producer, I submitted a tape, and it took how long to get that one tape on there? I turn on GTV and I find there's either nothing on the schedule, nothing on GTV, total PSAs all the time. I mean, I think there's so much more that needs to be done. I mean, I questioned PEG TV. I asked the town administrator, what is PEG all about? I'm not understanding. I don't get it. Because the last meeting on PEG is January 19th for the school board, January 9th from the town selectmen. So I wanted to know, what is this town paying for PEG? Who's responsible to put videos on demand? These are the type of questions. And I also have a lot of other questions that I've asked. We finally.
Can we get to
finally-
those after we
Yeah, but
finish this article?
we finally get the forms that we've been asking for forever. Dick finally gives it to us at 6:05. I get an attachment email. So we can get back to the thing, but I don't appreciate you questioning my agenda, as you put it, where GTV is concerned. Because I have an agenda, oh, you're absolutely right, and that's to get more people involved. So I don't understand why you think the column I wrote, you have a problem with, it's not enough, when you've done nothing in the past.
I had never said that the article was not good or that it was not enough. What I said was you solicited the whole committee for their input, their corrections, their additions and whatnot.
Their thoughts, correct.
And, correct. And as coordinator, who has more history and knowledge about the shows, you say you listed 3 non-local shows instead of listing 3 shows that have been 8 years, 6 years, and 3 years on GTV.
I took it from the
Yeah.
list you gave. You gave with your little coordinator's report a list, and I took it from there, and I went on GTV
And you
and looked
took
what
from
was
there.
currently being paid.
And then I sent
went
you-
on-
Guys, guys.
Then I went on
One at a time.
GTV, looked at the schedule to see what was currently being played, and I went off of that too. I went off of what was current, what was being played, and then I also had questions, and I emailed people and emailed you to ask, to make sure I had Earl's show correct and a few other things. I took your suggestions about John Burt's show, and I put that on, and I corrected the other one, and suggested to you that if, you know, you're more than welcome. There's another column, this is a once-a-month column. I don't understand your attitude.
My attitude was that I sent these corrections, and all you took out of
Did you,
them...
everyone see the long list of corrections he sent? It's
And
ridiculous.
Let me just finish, please.
They weren't corrections, they were suggestions, you wanted me to add them.
Yes.
It was my column, your column's next month, have fun.
Okay, but anyways, it's in the minutes.
Well, Dick,
So-
I'll be honest with you. I think that comment about an agenda, that's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. Incredible.
Pam, yeah.
I just gave my
No,
opinion.
I understand your opinion, and I
That's what
appreciate
it
your
is.
opinion. Do you think I get paid to sit here? No, I'm volunteering because I think it's a good thing for GTV to go through. And I think every single person on this board sits here to try to help and try to help GTV out. And to turn around and sell somebody who has an agenda because they're trying to do it, because they wrote an article to try to promote GTV, which you're gonna have all the opportunity in the world, and I'm sure it's gonna be wonderful next week. I think it's a little ridiculous. And I honestly, I'm a little offended.
How much effort would it have taken to just add those shows in,
It wasn't just the
Yeah.
shows.
but it was chosen? My emails after that were that, you know, you at least should put those 3 shows in order to give them recognition. Yeah.
What I'm trying to understand, and this is gonna be the last, because we're gonna move
Right.
on, because it just needs to be moved on for right
Yeah.
now, is that I don't understand why, I understand that you wanted to take the 3 biggest shows, or the oldest shows that you did, but you know what, it didn't happen. And this month, you can highlight the whole article about the 3 shows that you want to, if you feel so fit to do so. But I think for a person who volunteered their time and to do it, and it would be for any individual, if Brad did it, or Ryan did it, or anything, or I did it, if an individual spends the time to try to promote GTV, it's not very nice, and actually, as a person, to do that. And I'm just gonna, and I don't, and honestly, the board can feel any way they wanna feel about any individual. I just think that's wrong, and I honestly, it's unprofessional, extremely unprofessional to do that. You know, and so, but let's move on. All right, financial report, Dick?
I didn't get one. The
Okay.
report that you sent in the email, as of 1/18, doesn't make much sense to me as of 1/18.
Well, we keep the 2011 books closed the 4th week of January, or 3rd week of January. So this was
So
to
those
show
are
you
really just the
these for
2011, okay,
only.
so that's all we
Yeah.
have. When will the other ones be available?
When we have a budget.
Oh, okay.
We don't, this is
Yeah.
essentially
So we don't have a finance report for this meeting because,
we don't have a budget yet until March 13th.
All right, so you already spoke about that one anyway.
Town information. Sue, nothing?
I don't, Neil didn't give me
All right,
anything,
that's
but
fine.
if
That's
you
cool.
have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Well, I I think we're good. School?
Wait,
Oh.
I do have a question concerning, remember the invoice that the committee had recommended to the selectmen for not pro bono, but the donation thing?
Yes,
Did that ever go to the selectmen?
not yet, we have to schedule that for public hearing because the amount is over $5,000.
Can you do that pretty soon?
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah, I try to bundle public hearing because of the advertising costs.
It's a-
Yeah.
it's a change.
Okay.
Actually, I had a quick question too, because you would know, because you guys are both in negotiations. How's negotiations going? Is there any time limit or anything that's going on, or?
Yeah,
I know you really can't get
we did a 3-month
specific.
extension, and we're waiting for prices from Comcast, because
Comcast.
everything comes down to dollars.
Mhm. Now,
And so we're
prices,
waiting.
in what sense? What are they're making you guys pay for things?
Well, we have to put dollars on before we can get to negotiating what is a pass-through and what is not a pass-through.
Mhm.
For value.
Exactly. And so, one of their newer, it's not available yet, but we're hoping it'll be available for our town, is that Metro, what's it called, Metro E?
Yeah, but I
Oh,
didn't get a
instead of the
lot on that.
iNet, they use like,
Right.
yeah, I exactly know what you're talking about, yeah. It's
Right.
interesting technologies, that's what they're using now, the
Right,
iNets are.
and we want to be the test community, the pilot community for that,
Good.
For nothing.
and get that worked into our
And
franchise.
is the Radiant
They have to
modu-
put value on
I apologize, man. Yeah, okay. Is the Radiant modulator even in the discussions?
it. Yes.
They are? Okay, wonderful, because I think that'd be a great thing for Goffstown to have, because it's not even increasing the quality of the programming, it also takes away a lot of the, it's their problem, it's our problem kind of scenario, because it's all or nothing. If something's wrong, it's coming from it's coming from your end, it's not from their end, so.
Yeah. And live feeds at all the locations, the
Yeah.
high school that we want, Grassmere, and the other
And there were some
areas.
fields that they're gonna
Yeah.
price out, you
That's
know,
still
the
on the
football
table.
fields and the
Drops.
softball field.
In the stadium?
Yeah, the stadium, I should
But
say.
we don't want to have a huge impact on the Comcast user in terms of price.
Yep.
So we're trying to balance it all, so we have to get all the prices down first to see what the pass-through would be, and
Now, they can pass through a lump sum equipment money, but they can't pass through drops. That's part of the
drops
negotiation.
are free,
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Right.
so.
but not
so-
live feeds.
Right. Not the live feeds.
Well,
The
drops and
Live
live
feeds
feeds are the same.
Nope.
Drop is getting
You
the
have to get a
TV in.
modulator for the live feed, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. But the drops are for us to receive Comcast cable.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Those are the drops that you get
Those are
free at
free.
one, like, there's only one at school, which is why we pay for GTV's drop,
Yeah.
you know?
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. School, Gary's not here. Any other questions? I apologize. Any
I-
other
I
questions?
have questions.
Yeah, good.
What is the status of the bylaw changes? We submitted bylaw changes?
That's my fault. No.
Okay.
I didn't
Nope,
see it.
nope,
You
nope,
didn't
my
see it?
fault.
Okay.
Actually, I still have the minutes. I apologize to the committee. That's my fault. I should have, exactly. I know. Yes, let's get those done. Law changes.
Okay. Also, I wanted to talk to Dick about website, the updates. I have a question about, we discussed having perhaps an RSS feed on the website?
Did we discuss that?
I thought we might have, but, because it's all about, because people can ask to get information like a newsletter and.
Right, no,
whatever.
I know what RSS feeds are, but I don't remember us
You don't
talking about it.
remember?
And Dave,
Wonder what I got that from. Okay, that's fine. Also, the latest, it just needs a little bit of updating. The website needs to be updated.
now you still have the password and username to get in,
Do I?
don't you?
I don't think so. If I do, let me go
Check
check
your-
at home.
And
Let
I'll
me go
check my emails to you, but,
Yeah, okay.
um,
And that, just, on the shows, you have a thing about shows on GTV 16, that needs to be updated, because there are old dates on there from October. So any new shows, we can do the cooking one. But I'll check and see if I have that. You said you were gonna give it to me, and I'm not sure if I had it, but let me write a note for myself.
but the other thing too would be to really meet with Dave, because has he shown you how to update?
No,
That, yeah,
yeah,
so set a time with Dave
yeah.
to show you how to update. Talk to him about the RSS feeds.
Yeah,
Because he would have to set that up. in
that'd be
the,
awesome. Okay, see Dave Suter for, okay.
Let me just ask I don't know if David, if you know, but for RSS feeds, do you tag it to a certain page? And that's what gets, anytime you add or change that page, the RSS feed gets sent out? Or how does, that's what I'm not sure.
It might go on the latest news feed. We have a page, latest news, a tab.
Right,
latest
so
news.
if we can assign it to a certain page. Okay,
Okay. Also, I'm waiting for the January 18th meeting, the DVD, whatever came of that, would you know?
January 18th?
Yeah,
What is
of
that?
this cable meeting?
yes. Because I went and personally got the October and November, a copy of those, and I asked for the January one, and no one seems to know where a January 18th meeting is.
And, I mean, I wasn't here, but they, I'll check with Andrew to find out.
Yeah. What's the process, Sue? After a meeting's done,
We weren't here, right? We
You
were
were
in
in
We're
there.
next door.
Yeah. Last meeting.
The process was, and I'm assuming we're back on that
We're
process
back
now
onto
that
that.
your
The
server is
audio
up
is-
and running?
Right.
Right.
Okay, the process is then, I'll say present tense, that the DVD stays here, it doesn't go
Yeah,
back to you.
Andrew on, when he's done at the meeting, drops it up.
oh, okay.
Okay, drops it up at Catherine's office, she logs it in and it goes out to the library for 30 days. So anyone can come in and borrow it at the library. And then after the 30 days, it comes back here and we archive them.
Okay, so.
I think it's
that-
30 days, is it 30 days?
30 days.
It's, the library
about
said
something.
it's 30 days from the day they receive it.
Right.
So say January's 18th.
Maybe it's still at the library.
No, I don't know. I'm just saying, if, say they didn't get it till the 1st of February, then it would be the 30 days, February into March, because they keep it 30 days on the day they receive it.
Right, but did you see it, if it was logged in with Catherine?
She said it wasn't.
Wasn't.
Okay.
So it never got here, so it didn't go
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
library.
That's what it was, because I know I
Right.
asked and she said she doesn't have it, so I was just wondering if you could track, somebody could track it.
Yeah,
down.
we'll check with Andrew to see if he has anything on his notes.
All right. The other
If he
thing
had
is.
an issue or something.
Yeah, the other thing is, I asked Sue about old videos, and she said that you might have some archived at the station.
Oh, what do you mean?
I have some videos from like 1996, VHS tapes at home, and they're awesome. And I look very young. And anyways, they're from school board candidate, Lions Candidates Night. You look very awesome too, Dick, because you did the one for Lions.
I taped it.
Yeah, you taped it.
Okay, I didn't get up and talk.
No, you didn't. You were back, but it shows you back there taping it from
so-
1996.
So,
Well, Sue made a good point. I'm spending a lot of time transferring them and converting them from VHS to whatever. And Sue says, Pam, see if they have them if Dick has them at the station. We were doing all that
Not
work.
96, not that far back.
How
no.
far back does the station go?
For archives.
Yep.
Well, prior to the point where our server crashed and we lost a lot.
Right.
We probably only have like maybe a year and a half now, maybe.
Well, I think you and I talked about
Um,
this before, and you said you don't really keep them, so.
But we don't keep the VHS anymore,
So
those are gone.
anything I have on VHS, the odds are you don't have.
Right.
Okay, that's all I need. I
Yeah.
just wanted, because it's a good point.
Now, you
I didn't want you to
copying,
waste your time.
you copying them to DVD?
Yep.
Is that what you're doing? Okay.
I'm converting them to digital at first, because I also wanted to find out what the copyright rules were and what the laws were regarding posting them, but,
You mean the town meetings?
yeah.
That's public.
They're public.
Well, I wanted to make sure, I just, you don't want to do that and get yourself in trouble. Yeah.
You're fine with them.
Yeah.
Up to a certain point.
Right.
As
Oh, no,
long,
I
as long
wouldn't-
as you don't, as long as you don't manipulate them.
No,
If
I
you
won't.
manipulate them,
I
then it
wouldn't.
becomes an issue.
They're so awesome by
Who
themselves.
were the producers of the candidates night, though? Was GTV?
It was
producers?
Lions.
GTV.
Lions.
in
It's
the-
a Lions Club.
Yeah, in the Lions Club. I only have 2 of those, from
But they were
96
open
and
to public,
97.
anyone could have taped them.
Yeah,
But-
yeah, and you actually, yeah.
You don't,
And-
you
and
don't
G-
make any money off them. You
No,
don't
it's-
manipulate them, you don't make any money
No,
off them.
in GTV, if they did them, they get full credit for them, because you have your stuff scrolling, GTV 40, so.
Oh, yeah, okay. What I was gonna suggest though, I mean, to save you a lot of hassle.
Yeah.
Do you have the capabilities going straight to DVD?
Oh, probably, but what I wanted to do, Dick, I wanted to,
Creative.
clean up too. There's a lot of noise in some of them.
Okay, but to make it a lot easier for you, if you did go straight to DVD,
Mm-hmm.
I can give you a free program that we have, which you could you pop the DVD in to the
Right.
computer, and it'll create an MPEG file, and then you can bring that into your editor. But it's a lot quicker and less hassle than capturing.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah, if you're
capturing.
capturing, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
It'd be
Time.
better to just
Well-
quickly make, not quickly, but make the DVD. That way you have it, then you can import it, you can,
Yes, I'll take you up on that offer. Thank
import
you.
it. But then I'd like to get a copy of the
Absolutely.
old ones to put up with the rest of
Absolutely,
the
I've already made
meetings.
that offer to Sue.
Any other ones?
I just wanna have the public out there to look at it, because you will
But it's good
recall.
for
No.
video highlights sometimes too.
Yeah, well, they're old budget committee ones. And that's all I'm gonna say.
All right.
I'm trying to think of, oh,
So we
you
good?
don't have that one,
I
do you?
Let's move this along.
I have it.
So,
You don't have one?
are we all set?
Okay.
Next, school, Gary's not here, I assume there's nothing really new. Action items, are we moving off the moving?
Well,
from-
actually, in the school, there is something new with what Dick said
I
about.
already
Oh,
brought
we
it
already-
up.
we
Yeah,
already-
yeah,
right,
yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, I mean, he probably would be updating something like that, or putting an input on it.
Just a
I'm
reminder,
talking the school, yeah.
just a reminder about you mentioned Dick, and probably more to Barbara, but, you're gonna credit the musicians whose music we use. You're gonna put a little on the bulletin board.
Yeah, we gotta dig up and make some slides.
It's kinda, yeah,
Um, Yeah, because we used to have those slides and,
yeah. I did go through the bulletin thing and they're not there,
no,
just in
no,
case.
they get,
Yeah. Okay.
Now, the moving new equipment, are we gonna wait until we get an official
Oh, yeah.
breakdown bid
We're-
and then move until next month and
Yeah.
we'll vote on it one way or another next month, okay? New business, I already discussed the bending video issue, so hopefully that can be corrected somewheres along the way. I don't know exactly how that's gonna happen, but during the meeting was unwatchable. I was watching it for 5 minutes and it was just horrendous. I just couldn't stand it.
I mean,
Well, I wonder with that guy putting in the stuff, can he make that adjustment?
no, it's
It's not
because
Yeah.
the feed, I have a monitor in the studio,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Probably
see
looks
the
wonderful,
feed
but-
from town hall, and it's good,
Yep.
you know?
Right,
But
we
then when
always
it
say
goes
that.
and comes back,
Right,
but I mean, I know that we see that wavy up top, but it's not that bad.
It
You
just
can't
goes,
watch
it's
it.
the first, probably the
Yeah,
20% of the top,
right.
just keeps going like this and bending. So you're trying to listen to a person and you're watching them, and all you just see is this
Is the
flickering
flicker,
going
right.
back and forth. And
Oh,
it's
I
like,
didn't notice that.
but
Oh,
in
yeah,
the
I just
studio,
couldn't-
in the
Oh, see, you
studio,
haven't watched it enough.
sometimes-
yeah,
You
exactly.
haven't watched it enough.
I probably it's like
You don't see
ESPN.
it
You don't even
anymore.
read the scroll anymore now. But it's just,
Right.
Right.
but the flick, I'm like, I can't take this.
I know
anymore.
the
wanna
cooking
watch it too.
show, in Charles's cooking show, there's a little color at the top
Mhm.
going, but
Oh, I don't know.
Doesn't
I
take away.
haven't gotten that far. But anybody else new business?
Opportunity to see
Yes.
that on 16, yeah.
I'd like to know what the status of James Pingree is.
Oh, yeah.
Good question, huh? Haven't had him in a meeting here forever.
well, does he do the 3 strikes every?
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Well,
up to
That's,
It's up to the board. I'll try to get a hold of him and give him a call and kind of give him a heads up, and if he decides that he doesn't want to no longer, I'll inform Sue, and I don't know what the process is of doing that, but yeah, we haven't seen him
When's
since.
his term up?
Well,
I mean,
I'm
he would-
curious where he's a teacher that is on demand,
Oh, I've.
that, at night,
Mhm.
that, I'm curious if Wednesdays is not a good
well,
fix for him.
we should
whatever.
know that.
Right, right.
One way or the other.
Right, we should.
If he can't make it, that's understandable.
Right.
you know.
He's,
Yeah.
his term is 2010 to 2013, so he has another year left.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, I think if you contact him,
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
do
I'll
you have
give
his
him.
cell phone?
I don't, but if you could email me over, that'd be great, or before we leave.
Yeah, I'll give it
Before we
to
leave,
them.
just give it to me. That'd be great. Anything else? All right. Let's revisit the article real quick, because the emails that were sent out, the article about where we're gonna send it and where we don't send it and everything like that.
Oh, yeah.
I have no issue whatsoever sending it to any publication that wants to put it on there, because that's great and wonderful. The biggest thing that I have is that any place that we send it should print it as is.
Yeah.
It cannot be manipulated, changed, no comments about it, no little, anything to do.
Editorializing?
Yeah, just
Right, no.
just print it as is, and it's wonderful. I
Do
don't,
we get a contract with them when we're sending that? Or
Well, no.
are we people
If we-
that are
if we
sending in
send-
an article and it's at their discretion?
their discretion, if it happens once, we just don't send it anymore.
Ah.
That's, and I need the board to go along with that, because I don't wanna be, I don't think I should be making this into the
Right.
whole board did this. So I think any place that'll take the article is
Right.
great and wonderful.
Should
Just-
we wait though till after it's published in the Goffstown News? I think.
No, I talked to
No.
her, Dick. She
Oh, you
said she
did talk
doesn't.
to her?
Yeah, she said she does, because I brought that up because
Yeah,
someone
because I
said,
would think,
no, she said she doesn't care. So I said, I want to make sure because I don't want to lose you. She says, no, PM, you send it to us, send it to someone else, we really don't care.
okay.
I said, okay, I wanted to make sure of that. Did you want to have it sent through centralized or
Well,
just, how do you want to work
yeah,
that?
it's
Oh, yeah.
one person has to be the person that sends it out, because we can't every single month, let's just say I want to do an article.
Right.
I'd rather have one person have all the contacts and everything.
Right.
It's up to the committee if we want to go, if we want to do it through the secretary, through Pam, we want to do through Dick.
No.
It's wherever you
We don't
guys
wanna
want to do
through
it.
me.
Why don't, I'll just say, why don't we just do it through Pam,
Right.
because Dick doesn't seem to want to do it.
Yeah.
Well, who do you want me to send it to? Because not all places, like, you mentioned
If
Hippo Press,
anybody,
but
if anybody,
we do it.
if any
I've
board,
gotten articles in
Okay.
Hippo Press.
if any board member knows anybody who wants to have it put in any locations or anything, just pass them on to Pam, and Pam can get it.
Now,
on there.
does that mean if I write an article, I have to call Pam and
don't
ask
have-
what? I mean,
No.
contact, not so much.
You're just gonna
call
send
and
it to
ask.
Pam.
Just send it to
But-
me and I'll blast it out.
Yeah, and Pam's not gonna change it.
No, nobody
No.
changes your article.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, what is the process that we should be doing? And
Well, you should send it to the whole committee, but I think Pam is gonna be the one that's gonna be in charge to, the whole Dick too.
Right,
Pam
Right.
should be the one that sends it out to.
right, okay.
Okay.
Just because
So if I
we
say
want to
this is,
run a meeting
go
on
go ahead.
the
Yeah,
Not to make
What?
comment.
Yeah,
We have to-
exactly.
Oh, yeah, that's.
Don't
that-
run a meeting on the internet.
Well, see, what is
that's-
a meeting?
that's different,
If-
though.
if-
If-
if
if I-
he's
if I
giving us
email-
Start having a
information,
discussion back and forth, don't put this in, do put this in.
Oh.
you know,
Okay, all
That's
right.
a meeting,
All right.
oh,
Well,
that's a meeting?
yeah.
So would you suggest that if someone has an idea that they just directly just send one email to one person? Let's say Barbara writes the next one, Mike says, there's a little correction here. And so just Mike will send it to her and don't send it to the whole committee? And then it's not a meeting?
because
Would
it's
that work?
3 or
Because
less, right?
if I'm broadcasting it
Yeah,
out,
because
It's
it's
3,
not-
well, it's 3 or
because-
less. It's 3 committee members or less is a quorum.
Right.
So if you send it to 2 people, let's just say, for example, you wanted to
But
make a
if the
correction
two
to
sent
something.
it to another two,
Yep,
and another two, it's a
yep.
meeting.
Yeah, if Barbara, if there's a correction about, just say Barbara does an article, there's a correction, you send it to Barbara and to Pam.
Only? Oh,
No,
okay.
to Pam.
All right.
Because Pam is the one that's gonna be sending it out. If there's correction that needs to be made, she needs to know about it before it gets sent out.
Name someone the editor.
Yeah.
that's
there you
when
go.
she's editing, so
She's the editor.
I should get it. I should be, see, the problem with this is, the article has to be in, what part of the month? And we're having our
It's the-
meeting in the
By the
15th.
27th.
No, it's a good.
plenty of time.
It's plenty of time. No, and
Plenty
you
of
do
time.
it, I
You
wrote,
do the general stuff, you
Yeah,
don't do it,
Yeah.
why
you know.
don't, is there
Right.
any way?
you're not looking for anyone's permission to.
I'm not a big
No.
article writer, so I'm not gonna be voting too many times that I'm gonna be writing this, but can the person who volunteers to write the next article, let's just say it before we end this meeting,
It's different.
have it
Yeah, I already
ready,
did.
have it ready before the next meeting to be able to send out, so
No,
we
it's
can.
gonna go out by the 27th.
Well, I'm just saying, like,
Oh, but next time,
Yeah.
exactly, this one, I'm not talking about this one, I'm talking about the next one.
yeah, because we're really not talking about
It's,
Time sensitive.
time-sensitive
Exactly.
stuff in the
So-
article.
So we
Right.
can look at the
Real
article
general.
at our meetings, we can say, oh, I don't like this, I like this, and
That'd be the
then,
safest way.
before we leave, this is the article, it gets sent out, and then we go, the next
Yeah,
month, the same
okay.
thing.
but I want
So-
it to be clear, though, and no matter what transpired between Dick and I about this issue, I want it to be clear that it's your article, and I think everybody comes with a different personality and the way, and something of interest to them, like, Ryan may say, I wanna write about sports is important to me, and he can write a whole no, seriously, he can write a whole column about that. Then, or Mike might have how he wants to write, or Dawn. Our job the whole point of sending it to everybody was just, like in Dick's case, PM, that's not correct, you need to change it, that's not how you spell Earl's name or not, and that's not the name of Earl's show. But other than that, the content is truly up to you, as long as it's relevant and to
accurate.
GT.
Yeah.
In what?
That's accurate.
Oh, yes, yes.
That, I wanna make
Accurate.
sure that
Yes,
somebody
to-
doesn't say we're doing this, and it's like.
Yeah,
huh?
to GTV, you know what I mean? Other than that, because, Barbara could write a whole thing about what it's like to be a volunteer. I mean,
Exactly. Yeah, that would be a great
to me,
article.
that would be very interesting, so
So,
it's,
so why don't we, can
Oh,
I
that
just,
was recorded, wasn't
yeah,
it?
can I get a
but
motion?
we didn't see anything.
A motion to say exactly what we said. Get sent out to any place that wants to take it, as long as they don't make editorials or changes to it. Pam is the editor, let's just call it that what it is.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be the editor, and then each week, we try to get the article before, at our meetings, so we can look it over and make changes if we so see fit, at the meeting, and then it'll go into the next month. I need a motion.
No, are all the papers have a deadline of the end of the month like that, or is each one different, do you know? Off the top of your head?
They'll all be
They'll all
different.
be different, so, you
So
know,
they'll put it in whenever the
Yeah.
next available spot is.
And like you said, it isn't timely.
it's a
Right,
monthly
we don't
thing, so,
care.
you know.
Yeah.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, I need a second. Second, all in favor? All right, wonderful.
Just make sure for next month's agenda, the
I'll go back and look, because I wasn't, I thought it was just.
definition of community standards, remember
Oh.
that?
I'm not-
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah,
have to
yeah,
put that
yeah,
in
yeah,
there. Was it in there?
Yeah, that's gonna be an interesting
forgot.
one. That's-
Yeah.
Told you guys, it wasn't an easy one to discuss. So, yeah, so we will look at that. We will also be looking at the moving of the equipment and then we'll
Whatever
review
else
the
comes
article and
up.
whatever else comes up, so. Motion to adjourn.
Well, have we asked, who's going to be doing the Facebook, where he volunteered and she volunteered? Have we
We're
even
just
started
moving
to
forward.
do
Dick's
it?
gonna go through
He's gonna
through
check it,
the
and then we're
library.
gonna wait for policies.
Ah,
Right.
that's
Discuss
right,
that.
that's right. All right, then make your motion again.
Motion to adjourn?
Second it.
All in favor? All right, thank you very much, guys.